The truth's what she bends, spinning tales that simply don't make sense. Little boys need care, that's the call. But she's selling fear, trying to watch them fall. But we rise up, though we all stay silent. Gish Gallop girl, we're taking our stand. Truth over fiction will make our demands. With every shout we expose the lies for the health of our boys. The truth will arise. Vitamin K, a safety net we trust. Not a lie, just science. This is a must. Thomas and Matthew, standing so bold. In this fight for truth, our stories told. Voices united, we fight for the right. Yes, Gallop girl, we're taking our stand. Truth over fiction will make our demands. With every show we expose the lies for the health of our boys. The truth will arise. In this battle for knowledge we won't relent. To trouble the in this God of the line, be one and end. Together we stand for the truth that we meant.
Okay, so you all just heard the Afro rock theme of this week. We are going to be talking about Candace Owens' Shot in the Dark Part 3. The Circumcision Decision. Yeah, we're going to be discussing baby boy peen a lot. And
almost more than Catholic priests, I presume.
Yeah. Yeah, so welcome again to Gish Gallop Girl. I just want to say, before we get started, I'm on Reddit frequently, and there was there's a subreddit that I follow called Black People Twitter, where they will share the funniest shit usually, or the most horrible shit.
Yeah.
Because it's Reddit. And now, they do have a rule, though, like if you're posting or if you're responding to a post, you have to be like vetted by the mods.
Yeah.
And they have like this whole process.
Yeah.
That they want you to go through. And I mean, it's understandable. They don't, want fucking Klansmen in there.
Yeah.
Well, I had responded, I sent a note to the mods, and I was like, because something had come up about Candace Owens, and I was like, oh, well, I want to respond to this, and that's when I found out that you have to, like, be vetted. And I was like, okay, well, I get it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I had, make yourself comfortable. But yeah, I had, anyway, I had looked at the list and I was like, man, that's a lot of shit. I don't know if I really want to do that. So I just responded to them directly and I was like, hey, this is who I am. I run the podcast Gish Gallop Girl, where we skewer Candace Owens, pretty regularly. Feel free to check it out. And I didn't hear back from them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay. And that, it was a couple of weeks between, like, me responding to shit on Reddit with them, and I responded to something recently, and the post went through.
Huh.
Because I don't know if they reached out or not.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. I didn't get the notification. But I was like, oh, well, if I'm allowed to post, then I guess they were like, yeah, okay, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
I was like, look, I'm Jewish, and this is my show that I run with my kid, and So yeah. Anyway, it was a nice little bright spot during this crazy fucking last 2 weeks. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about before we get into it?
Well, I mean, nothing off the top of my head. Work's been surprisingly busy.
Yeah.
A couple of stores around, I felt bad for some of the retail workers. I was listening to them bitch about getting bitched at people for like 20-cent price hikes on things.
Oh God.
And,
God forbid.
Yeah. And then one of their people was talking and just said, talk to somebody from pricing, and I got told that there's a couple bucks coming here soon, so that's going to be real fun. I was like, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Well, Target stores in some areas, I pay attention to the Target subreddit, and they've been not doing that great. Boycotts have really fucked them up in a lot of markets. Not so much here, but in a lot of other areas where Target already wasn't doing good, the boycotts against them after they were like, oh yeah, we're going to remove all DEI initiatives. Yeah, the pushback on that has been pretty immense.
Yeah.
But yeah, between boycotts and tariffs, Target is having to raise the price on a lot of shit. In some areas, like let's say a pillowcase was like $15, it's been raised to $30.
Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of but it's like elections have consequences, people. But let's get into some of the scripted material here. As I write this, Trump just recently increased the tariffs on China again, after putting a 90-day pause on the rest of the world's tariffs. And just a couple of hours ago, from the time I wrote this, they exempted items like electronic chips, phones, and a few other electronic categories from the China tariffs.
Oh.
But Trump also recently started insisting his staff replace their American flag lapel pins with gold pins bearing his profile likeness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not dictator at all.
Yeah.
But since this isn't coming out for probably close to 2 weeks as I write this, who knows what the world will be like then. It hasn't gotten better past me. In the meantime, let's get moving on this episode, and I'll let Candace bring us in.
All right, guys, welcome to the third episode of Shot in the Dark, and I can tell you right at the top that this is going to be the last one that's in front of the paywall, and it is a great one to put in front of the paywall, guys. We are going to go on a journey talking about an extension of what we talked about last episode, which was the vitamin K shot, which I have hopefully made clear for you is not just a vitamin, and it's so fundamentally dishonest when a doctor says that to you. There's just no reason to be dishonest with parents and make them think that this is just a flippant decision. Where there is risk, there must be knowledge and there must be choice. So I want to talk about why it is that they think it's so necessary to give children the vitamin K shot. It's very bizarre. I mean, they talk about, well, your body doesn't have enough stores, and if you bleed, it won't be able to clot. We went over that last episode. But my question is, I've had 2 children now. Neither of them have bled during birth, right? So assuming everything goes right and your baby is born, the first thing that should be popping into your head is, wait a second, why is my baby going to bleed? Why is this even a question in the first couple of minutes after they're born?
Yeah, this is a concern because newborns absolutely can bleed a bit after the umbilical cord is cut and the stump is clamped. But also, about 5% of newborn girls are known to experience a vaginal bleed that usually stops within a few days without serious harm. We have to take Candace's word for it, but I suspect that if any of her kids experienced VKDB, she would lie anyway. The mass administration of vitamin K uptake is what keeps such problems from being widespread. But also, something to note here, is that Candace, and by extension her kids, have hold of the only superpower in the world. Money.
Yeah.
I am certain that if something unfortunate happens to her kids, they will have the best medical care that money can buy. If something unfortunate happens to her average listener, they might not be so fucking lucky. Candace can afford to have a child that needs round-the-clock care due to surviving a brain hemorrhage or something else typically damaging to a normal family's finances. She can literally afford to be wrong in a way that most people cannot afford. That is something I always keep in mind when discussing these health and wellness grifters. You know, because like she married into a $70 million fortune. And she makes, as we've demonstrated here before, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah.
Not counting what she was making on locals. The amount of people that were on there that were paid supporters of her. Plus anything else she's making off of her, book sales probably. Her fucking Candace mugs that were priced at an ungodly amount of money. You know.
I forgot about the Candace mugs.
I wish I could. Yeah. There's all her other merch. Now we know the numbers on the Candace mugs because she talked about them and what number she wanted to hit with them. You know, but I don't know. Like, having not checked into her show for a while like that, it's hard to say where the grift is at right now.
Yeah.
But she is easily making $1 million a year.
Yeah.
You know. Now, if you take overhead out of that, like maybe paying for her staff and shit like that, she might be coming in at hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or more.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say with her, sponsorships or endorsements, But I can tell you, though, if she managed to retain a lot of her locals crowd
Yeah.
into this new platform that charges $17 a month, how do you go from $8 a month to $17 a month?
Yeah.
Even Netflix doesn't do that to people. Like, they'll turn up the heat slowly. You have to dial that up slowly. But yeah, the fact that like anybody coming in new to her memberships or the people whose memberships needed to re-up, going from that little bit of money, that manageable bit, to $17 a month, like, no fucking way.
No.
You know.
Yeah. No. And what I find, I mean, granted, anybody that's willing to pay to listen to her probably doesn't deserve the pity, but the fucking the fact of sitting back and going, yeah, I'm having a hard time making ends meet. You know, I had to cancel some of my subscriptions. Did you cancel the Candace Owens one? No. I couldn't. No. What do you get? What do you like? I hope you jerk off and cry to it. That's the only thing you could be doing with this.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
God.
what are you doing with it? What does it do for you? I don't want to know what it does for you, but
No, nothing healthy. I mean, look, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, but the worst part of all of this is that her everything verbal and in that brain is terrifying and is bad and evil. She is not unattractive.
yeah,
Like, she is an attractive person. And it's like, she could have gone, if she had gone through with journalism, she could easily have been a regular talking head on any of the news platforms that she wanted to work for.
yeah,
She chose the path of evil. It's like the fucking, what was it, the Star Wars Jedi, was Survivor the first one
fuck.
in that series with Cal Kestis?
Yeah. I
mean, no, Fallen Order, that was it.
Right, yeah, it's
Yeah.
Fallen Order and then
Yeah.
Survivor.
Yeah, well, like the head sister that goes after you, the second sister or whatever, is she, or is she the
shit.
first? Doesn't matter.
Well,
The Indian one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the very first one that you fight.
Yeah,
The
it's
third sister actually. I think.
Yeah, it's like, I don't.
Whatever her number
It doesn't
is. Yeah.
fucking matter.
The
It doesn't
sister,
fucking
yeah.
matter. It's all fictional. It's all fictional characters, like Ben Affleck told us.
Yeah.
In the great Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It's It's like, you look at that one, it's like, honey, why are you evil?
Mm-hmm.
God, why are you evil? You're cute. Why are you evil? You don't need to be. You don't need this. Something bad happened to you. I'm sorry. You don't need to be evil. You know.
Yeah.
It's like I look at Candace. I'm like, man, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Could have done anything else. Didn't have to do this.
Still made the same amount of money too.
Might have made more.
Yeah.
If she had been, she could have pulled down real numbers.
Yeah.
On Fox or not even Fox. If she had gone to CNN, she could have easily done that and not sold herself like this. But, whatever. It's her life. We're just here to, break down the bullshit.
Yeah.
So, next clip.
As to whether or not I should be concerned about any hemorrhaging. Well, interesting word. Something that you should know is that vitamin K deficiency disorder, which is their concern what the infant might get, was not always called vitamin K deficiency disorder. They used to refer to it as hemorrhagic disease of the newborn, but now it's been updated and it's called vitamin K deficiency disorder. And I want to pause there because this gets into what I tell you about, where they control the definitions, they control the words, and the impact of those words on a parent's mind is significant. So if something was called hemorrhagic disease of the newborn, the first thing a parent would ask is, why is my child hemorrhaging? It's a very weird thing to happen to a newborn baby, but when you transform that language and you make it vitamin K deficiency disorder, it signals to a parent that there's something wrong with the baby, right? Not that something's going wrong at this hospital, but there's something wrong with the baby. The baby is deficient in vitamin K. And again, you will see this over and over again as we get into this series. The idea is to constantly make the parents and the children think that there's something wrong with either the parent or the baby. It can't possibly be the hospital. It cannot possibly be the vaccines. It's always you and the decisions that you are making. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
My Christ almighty, just... I mean, it's right there. There is something wrong with the parent in this regard. Fucking...
Yeah. What's wrong with the parents is when they listen to people like Candace. That's what's wrong with them. They've got smooth brains, or they're scared, and they're listening to someone who sounds like they know what they're talking about, but isn't a medical professional. Yeah. Because it was HDM. So VKDB, which we discussed at length in the last episode, 28, is vitamin K deficiency bleeding. Hemorrhagic or hemolytic disease of the newborn is what it was called prior to 1961. The name changed as the understanding of what it is, why it happens, and how to fix it changed. This is common in medicine. HDN is the acronym for what it used to be. Anyway, VKDB is not a disorder. She keeps using that word and I find it deceptive. Because no doctor or medical professional calls this condition, which is brought on by having low levels of vitamin K, a disorder. It is a condition, and since we know what causes it and how to fix it, it has a proper name, vitamin K deficiency bleeding. The name HDN originally referred to a host of unknown causes, but they got narrowed down to just VKDB as science was able to refine the scope. VKDB also allows for the recognition of the condition occurring after the neonatal period, because as we noted on the last episode, VKDB can occur between the first 2 weeks to the first 6 months of a baby's life. So basically up to 6 months old. But noting that it can be prevented entirely with a single dose of the vitamin K shot, aquamafetin, it has a known treatment that can be done before it ever becomes a problem. This is not an explanation for sudden infant death syndrome or SIDS, as that usually comes from other factors, but this one shot makes the entire spectrum of what fell under the classification of HDN entirely avoidable. Now, I get the feeling that Candace has found a way to work a sexual preference into her anti-Semitism, and she isn't exactly subtle about it in this episode, but we'll allow her to go on.
let's look into hemorrhagic disease. According to Boston Children's Hospital, hemorrhagic disease is a bleeding problem that occurs in a baby during the first few days of life. Babies are normally born with low levels of vitamin K, an essential factor in blood clotting. A deficiency in vitamin K is the main cause of hemorrhagic disease in newborns. So again, I go back to the question, what is making these infants hemorrhage? I'm going to point you to another interesting statistic, is that there is a sex difference in terms of which babies are more likely to have hemorrhagic disease and the disease of the newborn. And the answer is males. Male babies, male infants are more likely to have this. Predominantly male newborns, 2.1 males for every 1 female newborn, according to this NIH study. So that brings us to the next obvious question. Why are male babies more likely to hemorrhage at birth? Think about that. What could be happening to cause male babies to bleed at birth or to hemorrhage at birth? Well, definitely one reason is because we are performing surgeries on them after they come out of the womb via circumcisions. This is a surgery. And bleeding is the most commonly encountered complication of circumcision, which is why we have to discuss this topic today. Now, if you are a mother to a son that is circumcised, then you know that you are actually not allowed to refuse the vitamin K shot if your son is circumcised at the hospital. And I believe that that should be viewed as an admission of guilt from the hospital. The hospital knows, they are telling you that something that they are doing is increasing the risk of something else, right?
Yep. This is more complex.
Just on the top portion of this,
Yeah.
How far into this did it take her to get to circumcision?
A little while. Okay, just now I've mentioned it elsewhere in the script, but just like the other 2 episodes that we did, I cut nothing but the theme music from the front and the end of her episode. What you were hearing is clip immediately. Yeah.
So, there's familiar with the YouTuber JonTron, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful comedy. Yes.
Yes. Well, when he does his thing for Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Skull Vodka,
Okay.
he sits back and he goes, it took you, I think it takes him like 15 minutes in his commercial about vodka to say the word vodka. And that's all that went through my head was, how long have I been sitting here listening to her talk about everything but circumcision before she finally said the words circumcision?
Technically, only about 5 minutes.
It felt so much longer than that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to. Yeah. It's going to feel so much longer than it actually. This is a 37-minute episode of her show.
That translates to about 2 hours, right?
It's going to be, yeah. Because what I've noticed, the math on some of these tends to be like, for every minute she talks, I have to spend 4 minutes going, no, actually.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and the amount of research time that I have to put into making the no actually bit is so much more.
Yeah. And then the one of the most common side effects of the surgery being, the blood not being able to clot.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they're cutting something that has veins near it. Do you not know how a peen works, Candace?
Oh,
You've got like 3 children. I'm sure you understand.
4.
Right, sorry, 4 children.
She is, at the last time that I checked into her show, she is at the almost giving birth part of the 4th child.
My point in case here, she should know how a peen works. Blood rushes down there.
Yeah, wait for the next clip.
I swear to Christ, if she mentions a goddamn bone and boner.
No.
Okay,
It doesn't
thank
get
God.
that dumb.
Thank Christ.
It doesn't get that dumb. So, before I get further down the rabbit hole, I want to talk about the how and why of all of this. So one reason males presented with HDN in greater numbers than females was the practice of circumcision. But even as the practice of circumcision was taking hold in the late 1800s, vitamin K's role in helping with blood clotting was just beginning to be understood. One reason given across several sources I read through said that because boys as male heirs were often studied and cared for more than girls is one reason we can point to as to why boys showed up in hospitals more often with symptoms that would be classified as HDN more than girls. It's a real save the heir, seal away the other kind of thing.
Yeah.
Girls were still susceptible to various other types of bleeding death, of course, but boys were admitted to hospitals more often. According to brief research I was able to do, the death rates among boys and girls due to VKDB was about even prior to the vitamin K shot uptake. They were about even, but depending on various factors, the total death rate was anywhere from 250 to 1,500 kids per 100,000 births. The practice of circumcision drove the number higher on boys, the only advantage being that they were in the hospital or a medical setting for the procedure. Unfortunately, a lot of data doesn't exist for exact numbers of boys that received medical intervention. But what we do know is that VKDB on the whole could kill up to 14% of newborns that got it any given year in high-resource countries like America and Britain, and up to 25% in low-resource countries like Ethiopia. However, among survivors of the VKDB, up to 40% could wind up with lifelong brain problems from it. So, this was not a safe practice, but they had reasons for starting it. As for what she said at the end regarding the vitamin K shot being administered as the only legal way to get a circumcision in a newborn, as usual, this is wrong. New York State is the only state where it is mandated across the board if a boy is birthed wherever in New York State. This includes home deliveries, the back of a cab, on the edge of a cliff, wherever. Within the borders of New York, you're going to get a VK shot. Everywhere else, though, it is not required by law, but most hospitals will require it before a circumcision can be performed. It is seen as a universal good with no drawbacks, so it is a standard practice among most doctors that are willing to do circumcisions as well.
I just gotta say, it would be pretty metal to be born on the edge of a cliff, and not like you're safely on the edge of a cliff, but
No.
like the person who is helping you slide out the tube is hanging off the side of a cliff, going, "Just push. It's okay. I'll catch him when he comes out."
Right. Now,
Okay.
let's do one better.
Yeah.
Okay. Off the side of a cliff during a thunderstorm when it's hailing at night. You know, you've got lightning striking down, hail coming down, and you're birthed in the storm. You know?
I thought you were gonna say during an active volcano or something like that.
No, that child would have no choice but to become the next metal singer. That child would have no choice, really, but to make Metalocalypse a real band. And those parents would have no choice but to name that child Nathan Splosion.
And the father has no choice but to be very loving, so when an interviewer goes, "Okay, I get it, you're all a bunch of fatherless assholes," he can go, "No, I love my dad." And it's just a sequence of them fishing.
Yeah.
That fucking... I'll
Fishing,
go to Dad.
Fishing, but the boy has like face paint. He's got war paint on his entire life, you know. He's taught to put it on. Like no matter what, every day you wake up, you got to put on your face, son. Your destiny. I can't help it, but you have a gift, child. You must share it, you know. But next, we find out that Candace was not exposed to the exotic nature of international dick.
Wait,
I wrote
what?
that line. I had to read it.
What?
They get more into that in the next segment, but let's just start talking about circumcisions as just an overall topic. And I'm going to do this by telling you a very personal story of something that happened to me while I was pregnant, and I think about it all the time. And I am grateful that I was able to exercise humility here, because it was a very shocking conversation that I had with my husband. So we were obviously recently married. Our son was on the way. I never even thought to have a discussion with my husband about whether or not we would circumcise my son. Of course, I am an American. Of course, all boys in America, I'm giving you my actual mindset, are circumcised just like everywhere else in the world. Like, obviously, we're going to get our son circumcised when he's born. That was my perspective. And I casually brought up circumcision with my husband and was completely startled by his reaction. I'm going to tell you what he said to me. He used very strong terms, and he wasn't even angry. He just was matter of fact about it. He said, "You are not mutilating my son's body for no reason as soon as he comes out." Think about that. My husband says to me, "You're not going to mutilate our son's body for no reason as soon as he comes out." Big statement. Did two things to me right away. First and foremost, it stunned me. And the second thing that it did was that it offended me. I felt very offended by the word mutilate, because I just thought, wow, that's such an aggressive term. What are you talking about? It's circumcision. Everybody does it. And I felt that the implication was that I would mutilate my unborn child. Like, as soon as my son's born, I'm going to harm him in some sort of a way. And then I felt stunned by his further admission as he went on. He was like, what do you, he looked genuinely confused, my husband. He was like, "We're not Muslim, we're not Jewish. So why on earth would you even be thinking about this? Why would we mutilate our perfect son? This is not necessary." And for him, he viewed that to be a religious rite. And then beyond that, if you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, then he used the strong term mutilation. And of course, I was shocked and said to him, "What are you talking about? Every single guy in America gets circumcised. What are you even trying to tell me? Is this not a thing somewhere else?" Well, it turns out that my husband was correct. This is not a thing everywhere else. Nowhere else in the world, outside of Muslim North African countries, many of which perform tribal ceremonies as a rite of passage into manhood, or Israel, but nowhere else, pick a country, any country, are they doing this. Are they just circumcising every boy as a standard as soon as they are born? So I'm going to give you some of the circumcision rates of surrounding countries.
So, did she ever see her husband's penis?
That's what was going through my head. Of did she never? Did they do the fucking? God, it's not even a Catholic thing, so of course they wouldn't have done it. Or what were they?
What, IVF? You mean?
Well, no, not IVF. No, once I got told that there was some sort of way to have sex out of wedlock for a very specific religion, where it was basically the guy lays on his back with a sheet over him and a whole
yeah. That's that. They had brought that up in Letterkenny as a thing that the the Mennonites, I think it was.
Oh yeah. No,
I didn't even think of that. No.
But even then, she would see the dick.
Yeah.
So
well, here's the thing, though, is that they were married for like over a year before she got pregnant, the first time. So not an out of wedlock baby, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like because I was like, okay, no, I need to know this. So I went and looked it up, and sure enough, she was very well married.
Okay.
And they had the first kid. So.
Did they just do it in a dark room?
Well, my question about the husband's penis, I don't think she's ever seen it before, because her husband's not Jewish, he's British.
Yeah.
He says there's no reason for the practice of circumcision on the baby boy. Okay, fine. But Candace being shocked, and I will give her the grace that she was ill-educated enough to be shocked at this, Candace being shocked at his reaction causes me to question how they had their kids. Like, it's safe to assume, I think, that he isn't circumcised.
What if she does?
So, do you mean to tell me that she never dealt with his foreskin before? I think, and I'll play a short version of the clip again if I have to, but I think she realized what she was getting into with that story and tried to pull back from it because it was going into a nosedive. That said, she is wrong about universal neonatal circumcision only being an American practice.
Yeah.
The practice is catching on in several Asian countries and a few African countries, not as a religious practice, but as a matter of general health.
Mm-hmm.
There are issues the men who have foreskin deal with, and I'm glad I'm not one of them. Anyway, let's let her continue.
Canada. You would think, I thought for sure, Canada, yeah, they must be like us. They must be circumcising. Nope, 31%, just 31%, and it's going downward in terms of a trend of males in Canada are circumcised. In Mexico, that number is halved. It is 15%. In Sweden, it's just 5%. In Switzerland, it's just 5.9%. Across the entire European continent, there is no country that comes even close to breaking 25%, and no country at least that does not also have a majority Islamic population, because again, that would be a religious right, which is why they do this. Belgium was the country that had the highest percentage of circumcisions in Europe, and they have just 22% of their males that are circumcised. Are you shocked by that? I feel that you must be if you are an American. Either I have just been completely in the dark, which I probably maybe have been, but if you're not a person that travels a lot, or even if you do travel a lot, it's not like you're going, hey, are you circumcised? By the way, just checking here. Love the food here. Do you circumcise your sons? It's just not something that we know, because it's just something that we are told everybody is supposed to do for cleanliness. We're going to get into that later. Another country that has a surprisingly high circumcision rate is South Korea. Okay, so this is random. They have greater than 90% circumcision rate in some of their age group, and it is the only country among its geographical and cultural neighbors in which most of the boys are circumcised. And all of the circumcisions that they're performing are for medical reasons, which is a view that was strongly influenced by us, the United States. It became prevalent in Korea in 1945, the year of Korean independence from Japanese occupation, and at the beginning of the United States military occupation of South Korea. So these conclusions were drawn in a previous study where it found that virtually no circumcision was being performed in South Korea before the year 1945, again, when we began our military occupation in South Korea. So again, it is our influence that is making people do this as medically necessary, not because it was being done before.
Okay, so most of those percentages were correct even today. I will give her that credit. But South Korea is more unique than she wants to let on. In South Korea, circumcisions are often not done in the neonatal period. They are often performed in adolescence. Whether it's for medical reasons or peer pressure or both, it's often unclear. In much of the developed and developing world, neonatal circumcision is uncommon, since it tends to be religious-based. But in most countries where it is done when a boy is young. Only a few countries, such as Cameroon, Senegal, and Pakistan, actually promote doing it before a boy leaves the hospital after birth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it just makes most sense. There's less bleeding at that stage and less pain. I mean,
yeah,
if this poor guys that get it done wait till they're in their fucking 20s to get it done, and it's or
even like in the case of South Korea where they're like 12, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
The girls are off getting their various like cosmetic things done in summer break, and boys are, getting, like, a part of their dick cut off.
Yeah.
That...
And they aren't allowed to do anything with it until they are fully healed, lest they rip something.
Yeah. Like, at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I could not... I could not imagine. That is a thing that I'm glad was done at birth. Here we go. Next.
Male circumcision is performed primarily for religious reasons in Muslim and Jewish countries. We're going to talk more about that later. Starting from the mid-1800s, circumcision began to be practiced in English-speaking countries, although the only such country where boys are routinely circumcised at present is the United States of America, with one exception. That exception is the Philippines. The majority in the Philippines prefer that their sons undergo the tradition at around 8 to 12 years of age. Boys of the same age group would either go to government-sponsored missions, hospitals, or to a local circumcisers. Boys normally undergo the procedure during the summer break before the start of classes to allow time for healing. The most commonly done procedure, though, is in actuality not a circumcision, but a dorsal slit is what it's known as, where no foreskin is actually removed. When the foreskin is removed, it's commonly known locally as a German cut, in reference to the introduction of the modern surgical technique by the founder of plastic and reconstructive surgery. His name was Johann Friedrich Diefenbach. The Philippines Department of Health is something that is very important for you to know. Meanwhile, sponsors that annual Operation Tuli, which is the project to circumcise boys. Others assist and provide the service for free. So the government is saying, we will circumcise your son, and you will not be surprised to know that it is the United States that controls their Department of Health. In fact, it is the United States that created the Philippines Department of Health. So
Yeah, it never takes her long to land on some bullshit. She should play cow patty bingo sometime. She might win big. Anyway, the United States does not control the Department of Health in the Philippine Islands. That is absurd. The Philippines, like many other countries, does have a Department of Health that works with the United States and, until recently, USAID. They do this to share information and resources regarding health data. But the USA doesn't control their Department of Health. This is probably not a unique conspiracy, but it's fucking absurd. And yeah, now that all the USAID funding is gone, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
You know? That's... God, I just... Like, the Philippines controls its own shit.
Yeah.
Like, if they take, you know, if they take some good pointers from another country, it's because that's what departments of health that operate across borders are supposed to do. You know, like, hey, we've got this new disease here. Cool. Control it, or we're not allowing, you know, flights.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is why they're supposed to talk with each other. Oh, God. Next clip.
conclusion, circumcising infants right out of the womb was invented exclusively by Americans. And when we go and we share our ideas with others, we say, this is the way that you should be doing this. You should also be circumcising your young sons. So why are Americans circumcising? It's a very good question. First and foremost, we already talked about the religious implications. Yes, Muslim and Jewish people both view that to be a religious rite, and it happens on the 8th day. And here's something that you should know. So I know that the doctors want to convince you that there's something wrong with your baby because they're not born with vitamin K, but their vitamin K stores naturally start to rise after birth. If we weren't immediately performing circumcision, this wouldn't have to be such a huge concern. And those levels rise, especially by the 8th day. They just naturally rise. It's almost like God got something right. And so I want to say that in defense of Jewish people and in defense of Muslim people who are performing this as a religious rite, that it is instantly less risky because they are doing this on the 8th day. So,
no, wrong again. We covered this a little in the last episode, number 28, but this is incorrect for both science and religious reasons. For one, the vitamin K in a newborn does not rise up high enough to make circumcision a safe practice after the 8th day, and this is a reason why there is a high vitamin K uptake among both Muslims and Jews for their newborns. The Muslims do tend to insist that the ingredients be either halal or free from haram ingredients. Since this isn't usually a factor of concern, this is an easy thing to ensure. Jewish parents, of course, have similar reasoning, and both groups have high vitamin K uptake in their kids, regardless of where they are in the world. Vitamin K is both Sharia safe and Torah approved. Anyway, the Jewish tradition is 8 days after birth, and the practice varies widely in the Muslim countries and communities. They can go anywhere from a couple of days after birth, if not immediately, to several years later. There is no standard. As for the Jewish 8th day practice, it was standard in the religious structure for a few reasons, but the only thing I could find backing up Candace's statement about vitamin K being better after the 8th day or from websites for Jewish ceremonies, which also advocated the vitamin K shot as a gift from God to ensure no harm would come to the child for the necessary rite of passage. No credible proof exists of the claim that a baby doesn't need the shot before a bris. If Candace or her people found this anywhere, it was on a website without a cited source, because many studies have been done trying to prove this horse shit, and all have come up empty.
Yeah. That... I feel like it's easy enough to find the, official Jewish... I mean, I'm sure there's not a page called officialjews.com, but...
It's a big internet, man. It's a big internet.
But I feel like it's got to be a simple Google search.
Yeah.
And just going, all right, this one, yep. All right, this one, yep. 298th page, this one, all right. What if we go to the 999th page? Okay, here's one that doesn't advocate for it, right under the neo-Nazi page.
You're right. Yeah, right under the swastika. That's weird. That's a weird thing for this Jewish information page to have. Yeah. Yeah. God. Yeah. I mean, I have to guess that she pulled her talent on her show from like. No. You know what? I'm not gonna. I was gonna say this whole thing, her whole career with the Daily Wire Plus and all that shit, is a bad statement on the Kentucky school system, but I'm not going to say that because that can't be possibly true. It is a bad statement on Candace's hiring practices because I can't prove that her people came from Kentucky.
That's fair.
They could have come from literally anywhere. And she did say in her Andrew Tate interview that she hired a Tate graduate from Hustler University or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
if that man gave Andrew Tate money to tell him how to do life, I just
can guarantee that they're not of a sound mind.
It is a fucking snake eating itself of stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, the levels of crap that I have to swim through.
Yeah.
To just research this shit. Like, and like I said, when I was looking that one up, I was like, she must have heard this from somewhere. They must have gotten this somewhere.
Yeah.
I went looking. I found nothing except like I said, even Jewish websites being like, get your baby the vitamin K shot.
Mm-hmm.
Before the bris.
Yeah.
Get the little mashugana what they need. So that when the moil comes, we slice it and then we hold it and the baby is safe and we have the potty. And then before they die, the moil gives it, when they die, the moil gives it back because you got to be buried whole.
Really?
Yeah. The more like tightly religious Jews.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why suicide bombings were a problem beyond just being fucking suicide bombings in Israel was because it's religious tradition in a lot of Jewish communities that when you are returned to the earth, you are returned whole. So the pressure is on.
Yeah.
To get all the body parts back with you when you are buried.
Yeah.
That includes the moil holding on to the foreskin. So,
if there isn't a moil out there with
banked.
If there isn't a moil out there with just a wall style, like a library wall of nothing but a bunch of catalogs from A to Z with foreskins and little tiny baggies in each one and just who died?
Just answering the phone, yeah. Who died? Little Jimmy Stein? Oh, that's terrible. What was it? You know what? It's none of my business. I'll find him. Give me a moment. Yeah. I'll be there. I'm sorry for your loss.
Well, now I'm curious. Do they have to like just drop the foreskin back onto your bare body, or do they just like
that
tuck
part
it in your coat?
I don't know. Maybe they just toss it in the, maybe it's sewed into the body. I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't go that far.
I
know it's a matter of religious practice that, and especially like I said with the bombings and shit, like it's on them to try to find all the body parts to put the puzzle back together. You know.
I just got the picture in my head of a Hasidic Jew Moyle screaming, Kobe.
Just like chucking it. Kobe. Just before the casket lid is closed, like, Kobe! Oh. That's good. Oh, God.
Christ.
No, we need that. We need that to break up how utterly, terrifyingly dumb this all is.
Yeah.
She has an audience of millions. I'm going to remind you all of that. Millions. Think of 999,000.
Yeah.
999. That's a big number. That's a lot of nines.
Mm-hmm.
Add 1 to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now multiply that by 4. That is her possible audience any given day.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
Shut this down.
Yep. What is the Dr. Pepper bottle calling your name? What?
Listen.
Oh, wow. I'm going to see if I can catch that from the audio. Wow, that's Are you growing shit in that bottle? What?
No. I've been sipping from it.
Okay. All right, it's just the gas getting released, I guess, every so often.
I didn't have the lid all the way on because I didn't want it to go.
Well, time for the next clip.
Let's just take a look at the CDC, which I find to be extremely patronizing in the way that they do questions and answers about vaccines and about circumcision as well, about really all medical procedures. On the CDC website, the question that is asked is, doesn't the risk of bleeding from low levels of vitamin K only last a few weeks? And the answer is no. Vitamin K deficiency bleeding can happen to otherwise healthy babies up to 6 months of age. The risk isn't limited to just the first 7 or 8 days of life, and VKDB doesn't just happen to babies who have difficult births. In 2013, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention investigated 4 cases of infants with bleeding from low levels of vitamin K. All 4 were over 6 weeks old when the bleeding started, and they had been healthy and developing normally. None of them had received a vitamin K shot at birth. And this, again, gets into why everything they tell you is to make you assume that you have done nothing wrong and that they have done everything right. Like, they essentially shift the blame. Well, we investigated and look, you all didn't get the vitamin K shot, and your child is 6 weeks old, and something's going wrong, and therefore must be that you didn't listen to us. If you listened to us, and if 6 weeks old, nothing would be going wrong.
What? Uh-huh.
It just now registered in my head.
Uh-huh.
She's still talking about the vitamin K shot. She's not even talking about circumcision anymore.
Yeah.
Does she get back to the circumcision? Not that
yeah.
I want to talk about more child peeing, just like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just you can't call the name of an episode Circumcision Decision if it's not got more than like...
Yeah,
I pray to...
The clip was about done there.
Okay.
Candace is in the past here.
Okay.
Keep that in mind. I found the Q&A she's talking about on the CDC website. But if it ever mentioned the 4K study she mentioned in the answer there, I can tell you that it has been shortened in the time since.
Okay.
Now it just has a single long paragraph about VKDB. You know, I imagine the CDC people were like, do we need all this exposition? Can we just say no and give them a fucking answer? You know?
Yeah.
So, yes, this episode is obviously low-key about vitamin K again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you caught it too?
Yeah.
And because the ways she can lie about and cast doubt about circumcision is limited,
Oh, yeah.
baby peens are not typically Liam Neeson sized after all. She gets into vaccine shit. So here we go, off subject for anyone but the diehard. She roped people in with one type of thing, and here is something completely different.
Well, when your baby is 6 weeks old, it is also recommended that they begin their getting more vaccines. They get 3 vaccines: a combined DTPA, HIV, IPV, Hep B, and rotavirus shot. So is it plausible, by the way, if we were to examine, as we will as we go on, if we were to examine the inserts, that maybe some of these reactions are listed on the inserts as possible warnings from 6-week-old vaccines? I'm going to guess yes, because there are always severe warnings on the FDA inserts, but rather than saying that potentially maybe what went wrong with your perfectly healthy 6-week-old baby could potentially be that they're having a reaction to the recent vaccines that we've given them, which hold metals, they will instantly say, it must be something you didn't do, mommy. It must be something you didn't do, daddy. Again, always leaning into new parents that are always excluding themselves and leaning into this narrative, and making new parents that are already questioning themselves and already feeling so vulnerable think that they did something to harm their babies, and it deeply, deeply upsets me.
Okay, so this was a nice rest stop from the baby peen highway, wasn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
It's okay. Candace gets us back on the awful road trip in the next segment, but go ahead.
The fucking child peen is... How did her and her husband have sex is my only question, because, like...
You know, I just...
Was it always, like...
Okay, here's a theory. It's not my theory. I want to be clear about that. But someone last year had sent me a link to a YouTube video that I watched in full. It was about 30 minutes. I don't remember who it was. I'd love to give them credit. But the guy had recently... he does not cover Candace Owens on a regular.
Yeah.
I don't know what... I think he's just a mythbuster. But he had noticed Candace's going to bat for the Tate brothers.
Yeah.
Specifically Andrew Tate, but also Tristan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he had pointed out that, like, why would you go to bat for this person with all of these obvious issues, with all of these crimes?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And the guy drew a link, a possible link, mind you, between Andrew Tate and Candace's husband. Possibly, with a lot of proof, but possibly, allegedly, being gay for each other. And maybe he married Candace to get, like she's his cover.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
I don't remember what the term used to be. But there used to be a term for that.
Yeah, like a beard, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's his beard, yeah. Which is, like I said, the guy who made the video, he made a real strong case for it. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't brought it up till now because I really didn't want to engage with that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, somebody had brought it up to me early on when I was really promoting the show on Reddit, on one of the boards that I was on at the time. Yeah, they had brought it up and they sent me the link. And I said I really didn't want to bring it up because I was like, man, the guy makes a compelling argument. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's right for this.
Yeah.
Like I said, there could be other shit there. But, yeah, when I go through things like this and I'm like, did she ever see his dick?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean... Candace doesn't seem like the kind of woman that would ever have her face down there.
No.
You know, she seems very, very much more like the, let's get this over with. Mm-hmm. I'm ovulating right now. Let's just do this shit.
Yeah.
Other than, like I don't sense love. I don't sense passion. I sense you've got a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of money. I've got a lot of money. Let's just make this work out somehow.
Well, and in her case, she didn't have a lot of money at the time that they got together.
Oh, true.
Yeah, she was only just really beginning her rise. Mm-hmm. You know, like and their whole dating scene. The guy brings it up in the video too, about how they really didn't date for like they don't. According to them, they never really even went on a date. They kind of like met each other, and then 17 days later they were engaged. Like they had met in London.
Yeah.
And then she flew back from like doing a Russell Brand thing or something, and then like they started talking over Skype.
Yeah.
And then they got engaged.
God, that's an old ass relationship. Fucking Skype.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it was within the last 10 years, you know.
Skype though.
What's that?
Skype though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comedy Central. God damn. Brennan Lee Mulligan does a bit for Comedy Central that is CEOs.
Yeah.
Message from a CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them is the CEO of Skype, and about like not even 2 minutes into the message of like doing one of those like PA announcement things, he goes, "I'm here to discuss how you all absolutely fucked us. Fucked us right in the ass and then left us for Zoom."
Yeah. Skype was its own company, and then it got purchased by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a time you could put Skype on almost anything. I put it on a PSP just as a proof of concept.
Why?
Because I could. We were living in Middleburg. I had my hands on a PSP, and I was bored.
I mean, this is fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Just because I could. Like, I ran some tests on it, I made some calls, and I was like, oh, cool, neat. And then I deleted it. You know? Because it was like, all right. And this wasn't a modified PSP either. I was so scared I'd brick the PSP that I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's still, like, it worked.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, like, it was just, all right, next clip.
Yep.
Now let's debunk this rather absurd reason why some people, and you will see this in the comments, I got circumcised because it's sanitary, which is like the American brainwashing. If you ask people why they think it's a good thing for men to get circumcised, they will usually say that it is because it is sanitary and they believe that you should get circumcised. I remember when I discussed this previously, I received comments from men instantly that said that it lowers your chances of getting an STD. The reduction of the risk of HIV, transmitting HPV, improving sexual pleasure, increased penile-vaginal contact and stimulation, all of these reasons, but some of these just defy common sense. I mean, it just doesn't really pass the sniff test. Okay, so let's just back up to that first one. More protection from STDs by removing something. You're going to be protected by removing something. And let me tell you what a really great way to run this in your head is how crazy would we think it was in America if we said that we were going to remove a baby's vagina lips to afford her, a baby girl, more protection against HPV and stuff. If we just remove the skin on the vagina, it will provide them more protection from STDs. Or if we said we were going to move the clitoris, which is something that is done in some Muslim countries, it will provide them more protection, they'll be less sexually aroused. I mean, this stuff sounds really crazy if you place it on women instead of men in society. It's something that, again, I didn't even consider when I was having a baby boy. I was like, oh, of course, it's just what you do. But it's a really odd thing to get to a point in society, and I'm including myself in this, by the way, so if you're watching this and you've circumcised all your kids, please know I'm very much on your team on this, because I thought just like you, and I didn't pause to think about how odd it was that we were basically saying we have to mutilate or we have to remove a natural part of the body to make sure that your child, or to promise you that you'll have less of a chance of getting an STD, which I'm also going to debunk all of this nonsense in a little bit. And so
Yeah, before she puts her foot in her mouth, allow me to apply a spoonful of sugar to make the fungus go down. So first, Candace, using this argument about baby girls, is of course hypocritical.
Yeah.
She dances in hypocrisy all the time, so this isn't new. What I mean is, Candace would be the first person to tell you, even 3 years ago, that biological males and females are fundamentally different. A penis is not a vagina, and so forth. So for her to use girls as some sort of measure in this way is a special kind of bullshit. But anyway, all the shit she listed there, I was able to find backed up by several studies done by health groups the world over that show a general decreased risk from men obtaining and passing on various STIs. The reason for this is actually pretty simple. The foreskin provides a moist environment that can harbor pathogens and is more susceptible to minor traumas. This can open up entry and provide a persistent home to infectious agents. Removal of the foreskin improves penis hygiene and reduces the risk of several infections. This is backed up again by numerous studies. But also, I'd like to note that if it were not somehow beneficial to men, I doubt that the practice would have continued across cultures and religions, some of which never had access to the others. Neonatal circumcision is unique to the Jewish faith if we're talking about historical matters. But the fact that it happens in several cultures as a rite of passage at various ages means that foreskin removal has been seen as a beneficial practice in general in societies for centuries.
Yeah.
You know?
And the fucking...
Like the transmission of STIs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think I'll get into it a little later. The only two that it has shown to not really, to kind of be an even ground on, are syphilis and gonorrhea.
Yeah.
Literally almost every STI otherwise that I was able to pull up as far as like transmission factors go between circumcised and uncircumcised men, it was in like the 40 to 70% range of difference. Meaning you have a circumcision, you have a 40 to 70% less likelihood of passing something on or catching something because that foreskin is not there to promote the moist environment that bacteria and various STIs will thrive in.
Yeah.
Gonorrhea and syphilis were the two that were like, we don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, including AIDS, had a much lower risk of transmission among and from circumcised males.
Yeah.
Like, that's why in several African countries for years, in addition to AIDS drugs and the like, there have been circumcision campaigns. Like, if you're not, please have it done.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like in a lot of cultures, it's done before boys are sexually active.
Mm-hmm.
Before they can be sexually active, but generally, like, and it's seen as a rite of passage. If that were not the case, you would not have had cultures doing it back hundreds of years.
Yeah.
To present times.
Mm-hmm.
If it had not been beneficial, if not been seen as beneficial by them before the age of modern medicine, they would not have continued doing it.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, like, here we go.
That's really strange. I'm going to read you this from the American Cancer Society website. It says, in the past, circumcision, removing the foreskin on the penis, was suggested as a way to lower penile cancer risk. This was based on studies that reported much lower penile cancer rates among circumcised men than among uncircumcised men. But in some studies, the protective effect of circumcision wasn't seen after factors like smegma and phimosis were taken into account. Still, some experts have said that circumcision prevents penile cancer. I mean, it's just so wonky. It's like we said this, then we created a study that said that we were right, and then we're saying, like, okay, maybe it's not right, but still some experts contend that it's right. Does that sound like solid science to you? Like, does that sound like a scientific analysis that should convince an entire population of people to remove the foreskin from a baby's penis? Just to be clear, in the United States, the risk of penile cancer is low, even among uncircumcised men. Men who are not circumcised can help lower their risk of penile cancer by simply practicing good genital hygiene. And that, by the way, is the major implication of them saying that if we remove this, you'll have less of a chance of an STD. What you're basically saying is, we don't trust you to be able to shower yourself. Like, yeah, maybe if there's more skin somewhere, yeah, there's more skin on my earlobe, there's more of a chance that it might get dirty, but I'm good. I know how to clean it. I mean, women, we have hips. We have, like, imagine if they said, well, you know what, it'll be much easier for you to clean underneath your breasts if you just didn't have your breasts. Does that sound crazy to you? Because that's kind of the argument that they're making, that we can't rely upon men to have good hygiene, so what we are going to do is we're going to snip them all, and then they don't have to worry about it. We're just going to get rid of the breasts, and then you don't even have to worry about having good hygiene underneath your breasts. Again, I'm just trying to really make you think about what they are trying to introduce you as something that is rational when it is utterly irrational in my newer view. Again, not being judgy, I thought just like you.
Yeah, not being judgy by being judgy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So the website actually says most of the stuff that she said, and the copy she was reading was dated for 2017.
Okay.
So the American Cancer Society hasn't seen a need to update that paperwork in 8 years now.
Yeah.
But again, we find her making apples and oranges comparisons here, this time between penises and breasts. I'm pretty sure her son will not get away with the excuse that he was just cleaning it and it went off, though. I feel like his teenage years are either gonna suck, or he is gonna be the kind of expert with pornography that kids in the pre-internet days had to be. Regardless, I wish him well, unless he grows into being a shite human. Anyway,
I don't know. So far, most of the folks in that age range that I've talked to, they become knowledgeable that their folks are shite.
Yeah.
But they themselves go, man, as soon as I can get the fuck out of here.
Let me remind you, you deal with middle class people. He's growing up with wealth.
That's fair.
That warps the brain.
Yeah.
What's going to warp his brain more is being around other unvaccinated people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unvaccinated, uncircumcised smegmas.
Right. Oh. Anyway, circumcision is a safe way to remove the entire fear of not only smegma buildup, but also the obvious fears of hidden pathogens that maybe soap has a hard time removing. Keep in mind, as we go into the next segment, circumcision is done in other cultures not at birth, but as a practice when a male child is older. Candace is now going to engage in the practice of liar's numbers, wherein a person uses skewed stats to make a point. I'm going to let her do her thing now.
If it holds true, by the way, so let's examine their position here. If it holds true that circumcision helps prevent penile cancer, right, then we would be able to see it right now in the numbers by the country's circumcision rates. We should be able to say, okay, we know America has the highest incidence of circumcisions or circumcising like crazy, so let's just take a look and compare America to some of these European countries or anywhere else where they're not actually circumcising any of the men, which is everywhere else. Well, here's the answer. The annual incidence in the United States is approximately 1 in 100,000 men that get penile cancer. In Australia, where circumcision isn't the norm, it's 1 in 250,000. In Denmark, it's just 0.82 per every 100,000. In the United Kingdom, fewer than 500 men are diagnosed with penile cancer every year. I will, of course, put the sources for all of this below in the notes. The answer is obvious. You just need to be able to clean yourself, which is why penile cancer rates are the highest in poorer countries where they don't have the same sanitation standards that we have in the United States of America. So where are incidences of penile cancer highest in the world? Where? Well, in developing nations is the answer. I might shock you. For example, the incident rates in India, 2.3 per every 100,000, and in Eastern and Southern Africa, it is at 2.7 per every 100,000. So there you have it. Common sense. When you think about it, you can find it. And these are the things, again, using scary things like cancer to scare you into making a decision. Scary things like you're less likely to get an STD. Oh my God, I don't want to get an STD. I don't want to get cancer. So let me just submit to this without thinking any further.
Okay, so penile cancer. It sounds beyond horrible, and I would only wish it on Nazis to die from it. I can think of probably a dozen Nazis right now. 2 at least. Anyway, putting that aside, Candace used her stat percentages there to make it sound like it was a non-issue in Western countries. She used 3 examples: America, Australia, Denmark, and Britain. I looked into Europe, so 4. I looked into Europe as a whole, and the UK has the highest general rate at 2.6 men per 100,000, while the overall European rate is about the same at America at just under 1 man per 100,000 to almost 2 men per 100,000. That's the overall European rate. Now, Candace was of course not saying the real truth here, omitting the information that the population of the United States is, as of right now, about 347 million people.
Yeah.
The population of Australia and Denmark combined isn't that high, but the population of Europe overall is about 719 to 741 million, depending on your source. This includes 44 countries, one of which is Russia, with a population of 146 million people.
Fucking
A
Christ.
circumcision rate of 11%, and a penile cancer rate of 1 man per 100, of just over 1 man per 100,000. If I was going to give Candace any grace in this matter, it would be that the rate of penile cancer is about the same regardless of neonatal norm or later on circumcision in populations that report that data. But incidence of STI is much lower in populations where circumcision at any stage of life is a cultural norm. The only gray areas seem to be syphilis and gonorrhea, where mixed results have been reported. STIs, sexually transmitted infections, are more common across the board than almost any cancer in any group. Next up, if you were a fan of Preacher, like we are, then the next part will be familiar to you. For almost everyone else, welcome to the fucking darkness.
You might be thinking, why is America doing this? It's so strange. Like, why would they? It's Candace. It sounds a little bit like a conspiracy. Are you telling me that doctors and hospitals and nurses are colluding for baby foreskin? That would be weird. What would be the purpose of that? You know, a lot of the times when we talk about vaccines, we're talking about financial profit. But Candace, there's no financial profit. There's no incentive for them to take the foreskin, which they definitely throw out. I'm sorry, why do you think that they definitely throw out the baby's foreskin? That's what I'll ask you back. This is going to absolutely shock you. Honestly, this is crazy. When I found this out, I thought this can't be real, and it really speaks to one of the flaws of the medical industry. If there's money to be made, they will make it. Baby foreskin is actually being used in beauty products. According to multiple sources, hospitals are actually engaged in selling the foreskin at a profit. I was even able to find this on a dermatological website where they state this. Now, to be fair, because I want to make sure you know that there are sources that say that the foreskin is being donated by hospitals, but I think the main takeaway is just that if you thought that the foreskin was being disposed by hospitals, it isn't. That, to me, is shocking. It isn't just being disposed. You are stunned, you need a second to catch your breath. I totally understand when I learned this, because I was saying there must be a financial incentive, and when I found it, I was just so grossed out by this. It's unbelievable. There's one woman who wrote an entire article on it, and she hyperlinked to Coriell Institute in New Jersey. It's just one such place in America that sells the foreskin. The foreskin fibroblasts has become a beauty product. Someone wrote to me and they said that Oprah had been promoting it, these baby fibroblasts that come from their foreskin, and I just could not believe it. We weren't able to find that specific clip. I'm assuming it's obviously Oprah's been off air for a very long time, but we were...
Somebody fucking fucked with her after watching Preacher. The Preacher, that fucking Cassidy mentions fucking Oprah pushing beauty products and mentions that that's how they have to be doing it. God damn it.
I had to do so much work on this. Okay.
Oh my god.
So this is a lot. As usual, the truth is even more involved than Candace would tell you.
Man.
And might actually not even be bad, even though it is admittedly kind of creepy. But let us address these issues one at a time. I'll start with the Oprah bit. It took no time at all to bring up that Oprah Winfrey has promoted a beauty product that uses foreskin fibroblasts as an ingredient.
Okay.
Took me no time at all.
Yeah.
Simple fucking Google search. Not even the third result. Okay? The product in question is Skin Medica's TNS Recovery Complex, an anti-wrinkle cream that contains, quote, human fibroblast conditioned media, which is derived from end quote, sorry, which is derived from foreskin fibroblasts. Oprah has publicly endorsed this cream, calling it one of her favorite beauty products and encouraging her audience and celebrity friends to try it. Now, the controversy centers on the fact that the fibroblasts used in the product were originally derived from a single donated infant foreskin, from which cells have been cultured and multiplied for years. Skin Medica's founder has stated that no new foreskins have been harvested for decades, and that the product does not contain actual human tissue. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
I could only imagine how that guy had to feel testifying this to people. Like, no, we're not harvesting new foreskins. What's wrong with you people? Are you barbaric? Well, wait, you used foreskin? Well, we used one foreskin.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Decades ago.
Relax. We used one foreskin, and we just cloned it a bunch.
Pretty much.
Wait, you can clone foreskin? That's not the point here. Point is we don't harvest foreskin anymore.
Yeah.
Next question. If it's about goddamn cloned foreskin again, I'm not answering it, and I'm going home.
You pretty much have it right.
God damn it.
Allow me to continue. It is made from growth factors produced by the cultured cells. Okay? As for the Coriell Institute, they do exist, and they do sell foreskin fibroblasts. But before we go on, a fibroblast is basically a type of cell found in the dermis layer of the foreskin, specifically known as a dermis fibroblast. They are a major part of the connective tissue and play an important role in producing collagen and other important proteins. Coriell offers them as live cultures, frozen samples, and cell pellets for researchers. The Institute itself is known for its pioneering work in human genome research, infectious disease, genetic disorders, cancer, aging, stem cell research, of course, and personalized medicines.
I hope that they're still doing stem cell research and not just cloning foreskin.
Right. I mean, honestly, you go where the money is.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, Coriell has been around for over 70 years.
Fucking hell.
And they maintain a large amount of biobanks where they house some of the most extensive collections of cell lines, DNA, and other materials for use by international research organizations and companies.
Now, I know it'd be expensive as fuck, but I'd love to go there just once, just.
Yeah. I mean, they're based in New Jersey, but they have locations around the world.
Like how they're based in New Jersey, but they have locations around the world, so you don't have to go to Jersey.
No, there's one reason to go to Jersey. One for me.
Yeah.
One. Okay, maybe two.
Kevin
Definitely
Smith.
one though. Red Bank, New
Okay.
Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
You know what's down the road from that?
What?
Well, a couple towns over.
What?
The Kevin Smith's movie theater,
Oh.
where on Sundays, every Sunday at 4:30, until they bulldoze that place, which hopefully never happens in my lifetime. Every Sunday at 4:30, you can see the 4:30 movie. His most recent film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's like, he asked the other theater owner there. He's like, or one of them, the guy who actually does the day-to-day on it.
Yeah.
He's like, can we just show the 4:30 movie every Sunday at 4:30? And the guy's like, of course. like why would we not? It was filmed here, for fuck's sake. They filmed it. They filmed the movie about the movie theater at the movie theater. Like, it's like, yes, of course we'll do that, Kevin. Come on, yeah. But Yeah. So back to the script here.
God.
Yeah, like I said, the Coriel Institute actually does a lot of fascinating work, which Candace would probably call playing God.
Well, yeah.
That said, I decided to take a little side trip to look into the company Candace says she uses for her facial products.
Let me guess.
Now, hold on. I won't lie. I was hoping to come on here and tell you that Nimi Skincare uses foreskin cells or something similar, but they do not. I wanted that to be true. Unfortunately, it's not. Not so far as we know. I looked into every ingredient and I looked for key phrases that would indicate they were there.
Yeah.
But that was not to be found.
No.
That said, there are skincare companies that do use them here, such as Skin Medica TNS Recovery Complex, promoted by Oprah and others. That formula has been made and consistently reproduced from the cells of one foreskin, as I said. The science is basically making the cells reproduce for the properties that they have and being used in the formula. That formula, by the way, costs anywhere from $206 to $230 per 1 ounce bottle. Now, it should be noted that for now anyway, human cell lines are not allowed in European beauty products. So this is an American thing. Woo! USA! It's in the script. I had to do it.
What was it?
Well, the woo part is I added the USA. See?
Okay. Yeah.
Next clip.
We're able to find this clip of Steve Harvey talking about baby foreskin, which has been turned into liquid, in which he tries on his hand. Take a listen.
So this is one of Oprah's favorites. She says it's a miracle fountain of youth and her magic wrinkle cure. So I'm going to put a little on your head.
You tell Oprah this what's on her face?
She knows.
She knows.
She knows. There were a couple protesters about it because they are cells from baby foreskin.
Oh, baby foreskin.
That makes it better.
Yeah, that's different. I thought it was some grown-ass man.
So there you have it, baby foreskin, and he feels better about that, and the audience is laughing, and they're saying, oh, it makes it so much better. I thought it was a grown man's foreskin who would be able to make a decision about whether he wanted his foreskin to be given, not an infant child and a parent who obviously has no idea. I would be very surprised if you told me, yeah, I knew that. I knew that afterwards the hospital disposes of this, and by dispose, I mean actually is selling it to beauty companies.
How do they get it? That is a good question. If Candace had bothered to do any research on this, and I do not believe that she did, she would know that places like Coriel do actually have parental consent, and the entire process is documented. They aren't doing a shady alley deal with the hospital. They aren't out there making soap like Tyler Durden.
Could you imagine? You go outside your building for a smoke break, and you round the corner, and you just see one of the fucking Moyle doctors standing out there with a fucking white panel van full of suitcases that have nothing but baby foreskin, and some guy walks up in a 3-piece suit and just goes, you got it? Well, you got the cash? Yeah, right here. Alright, this'll have to do. Go ahead and take the van. Here's the keys. You saw nothing, Philip. You say a word and you're dead. Like,
you say a word and you're in the van next. In little pieces. I'm the Moyle and I'm skilled. I got a scalpel and it's got your name on it.
Could you imagine the bragging rights of being a war Moyle?
Right.
Like, being a war doctor is already its own bragging rights, as Watson had said.
Right. I'm the war Moyle. You know, or that guy's just, or he's who the interrogator calls. You know, when it's like, you're not answering my questions. Well, how about, you know, we've seen you naked in the delousing process. We know your secret. What secret? Your member is not clean. We would seek to help you be clean. We have a person for that, not me. I won't. But we have a person. Bring in Jaime. Yes. Tell him to bring the blade. They're going to meet a doctor. I'm going to leave the room. Men, hold him.
Why is it a flamboyant German?
Hey, why not? I just imagine Dieter from, Sprockets. When I think of the only person who would consider that, an interrogation level torture on a grown man, I think Germany. I mean, it could also be that I keep in my view the back of this Linux Administrator magazine that I have, because it's mostly white and it's a really good surface for my mouse. But it's advertising Linux-built computers that are made by TuxedoComputers.com, built in Germany with German privacy. So I have the flag. I have the flag of Germany in my view all the time. That said, I do love the Germans. Off topic entirely, but me and my wife ate at a place here called New Bohemia earlier today. Very good bratwurst. Oh my god, I had a pork bratwurst that was filled with mac and cheese.
What the fuck?
Is topped off with caramelized onions.
What the fuck?
And they serve them in I swear in potato buns. Yeah, it's amazing. What? It's excellent. What? I also had because I'm a as the Germans would say, I'm a Zoftig. It's German for big fat pig. I had see, I know the curse words. I also had a smoked elk bratwurst.
Oh yeah.
Topped with hot peppers.
I remember you mentioned that.
So good.
Just
so good.
Just I don't remember the pork bratwurst with
mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese
so
in
good.
it.
It was amazing.
Wait, was there was it like hamburger helper almost in a pork skin?
Kinda, yeah, but really, really good.
Okay.
Really good.
Well, yeah, no, but I was just meaning
at least I think
had
that was pork. It wasn't listed as pork. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had that, and then I also had an order of truffle fries with it, which were fresh cut potato fries.
Yeah.
With truffle salt, and they were topped with I think like a Parmesan. It wasn't really melty; it was just melty enough.
Yeah.
But they also give you a choice of sauce. Now the the brats that I just talked about, the topping options are pretty wild. Mm-hmm. I chose the peppers and I chose the onions.
Okay.
And they come out to you like Coney style, they are loaded the fuck down.
Okay.
They are serious food. Just the dogs alone, and they give you a plastic fork and knife.
Yeah.
I had to use those. I couldn't wrap my mouth around what was there. I had to use those anyway. The truffle fries, though, now whether you get regular fries or truffle fries or onion rings or whatever the fuck you're into,
yeah,
you get a choice of sauce to go with them. I chose smoky stout barbecue.
Okay.
Fucking excellent. Mm-hmm. No complaints. I had a very good IPA from a local brewery. I think it was called Red Coat IPA. I don't remember the name of the brewery, so I feel like an asshole. But it was excellent.
Yeah.
The IPA itself, too, it was hazy, and it wasn't really hoppy.
Okay.
It was it had a pineapple scent to it. It's like a pineapple IPA. That said, my scale on whether or not an IPA is hoppy has been forever ruined by the Terrapin Brewing Company's Hopsecutioner.
Yeah.
Which has 10 different hops in it.
Jesus.
And I swear it tasted like straight hops when I drank it years ago. That was a high alcohol beer because it has to be. There has to be something that keeps you going on that.
Yeah.
That said, though, Hopsecutioner absolutely broke my scale of what is hoppy and what is not hoppy.
Yeah.
After that, I could drink any IPA, no problem.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't this glass of fucking hops. Anyway, yeah, that's why. Like I said, I have nothing against the Germans currently.
Yeah. Well, especially not because, they're in open revolt against...
They are in open revolt against Nazis over there.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. Again...
They're like, never again, goddammit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, the internet and, after Trump had gotten, voted back in again.
Yeah.
And everybody was sitting there going, oh, man, it's a replay of the 1920s again. They're sitting there going... So when are we expecting Germany to lose their shit again? And going through all the world events that are just repeating. And one of the guys that I watched that was doing that was like, okay, France, what are you doing? Well, we're in open revolt right now against our government for these reasons. Oh, fuck. Okay. Canada, how are you doing? I'm feeling like I want to go commit genocide with soup cans. Okay, that's not good. America? Oh, we're crashing and burning over here. We're itching for something to go fight. Ah, fuck. Russia? We're not gonna touch you, Russia. Germany? Yeah, don't even fucking say a word to me. Do not do anything. I have my fucking eyes on you. Stay fucking put. But I'm not doing anything yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So far, they've been playing the thing of no.
Yeah. Like it's like, man, can I learn enough German to get a citizenship? But like I said, the New Bohemia, great restaurant. We talked about maybe going there for your 21st.
Okay.
They have beer flights.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have beer flights, and they have an extensive beer menu.
Okay.
That might be worth us going there. Mm-hmm. They have really long tables too, so we can get the whole family at one.
Yeah.
They have really long tables, and then they have 2-seaters kind of everywhere.
Okay.
But we talked about doing that because, I mean, it's affordable. The beer menu's excellent. The food's really fucking good.
Yeah.
So we might do that.
Okay.
On your birthday. But so let's get back into this. How do they get the foreskins? Now, that is a good question. If Candace bothered you, yeah, right. I covered all that. Okay.
Yeah, and then we started talking about bratwurst.
Yeah. So I looked for the exact Steve Harvey episode or the air date, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But contrary to the clip Candace played, he wasn't saying that it was okay.
No.
He was being sarcastic. Now, the problem trying to find an exact air date for the Steve Harvey show is that a lot of daytime talk shows, his show would often they would record things and then they would send them out.
Yeah.
They would distribute them to local stations and whatever the fuck. Well, the problem with that is, you can't really find an exact air date on a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Because they weren't doing necessarily topical conversations. It was, okay, well, yeah, we filmed this, but the air date is whatever the local people wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So, it makes it a lot harder, and I didn't really, once I was okay, I'm doing an uphill battle on this one, I let it go.
Also, the whole thing with Steve Harvey is he's always been a very sarcastic man since he started working on fucking Family Feud.
He's, that's just something that he...
Shit, even in his one interview, he openly mentioned that he sassed and backtalked, I don't remember what TV show network it was.
Yeah.
But they wanted to get him a talking coach to get rid of his, just how he speaks.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we need you to use more, educated terminology and stuff. And he's like, the fuck you mean? More educated.
Yeah.
And so he intentionally got more and more damn near Creole South with them. And refused to let up, and he's like, nah, you already done gave me the gig. I already done signed that contract, boy.
Yeah, right. You're going to see me for who I am now.
Yeah.
Or you're going to pay me a lot of money to just sit on my ass. Yeah. So here's the next clip.
Who are then giving it to Oprah as, again, that confirmation from that clip that Oprah does in fact use this and at least has promoted this somewhere. We couldn't find it, but also it's being promoted by Steve Harvey by having this woman on the show. How does that clip make you feel? Is that totally insane? Well, it gets worse. There are also places where you can buy baby foreskin. You can actually purchase neonatal foreskin on a website called Alonza.com. And let me tell you something, there is a reason Oprah is using these products because they are expensive. The cost here, and I'm going to show you this, is $664. And here is the product overview. It says human dermal fibroblasts are available from either adult skin or neonatal foreskin. They are derived from the dermis of normal human neonatal foreskin or adult skin. They are cryopreserved at the end of primary culture. Alonza's human dermal fibroblasts are guaranteed through 15 population doublings when using FGM 2 growth media. Okay, you get it. They are selling this and you actually can buy this. So if you're a beauty manufacturer and you know that it's all the rave and celebrities trying to get their hands on this, this might be the kind of investment that you want to make. Again, something that I would say only in America, and I don't say that in a good way. For those of you that are not aware, you can also get a foreskin facial. You probably were thinking, this can't possibly get more gross, and the answer is yes. It is very popular right now amongst Hollywood celebrity circles to inject the cells from a baby's foreskin, specifically a South Korean baby's foreskin. Again, back to South Korea and why we are trying to promote them getting their circumcisions. You can get that injected straight into your face. Sandra Bullock and Kate Blanchett are huge fans of this. Kate Beckinsale also had one and said that it was absolutely amazing. I don't know how that makes you feel about Hollywood, but it...
I'm sorry, but firstly, $2 off a fun price.
Yeah, 664. Yeah, that's what I was thinking the first time I heard it. I was like, man, $2 more. They could have been, or just even $3. They could have been just over the brink of evil.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then a foreskin facial. I don't think Candace is familiar with that sex move, but that's all that came to mind when she said foreskin facial was.
Well, okay.
And then
to that end, there's a song.
Yeah.
It's done by the artist Liz Phair, Lizphair.
That almost makes me angry, but continue.
Okay, Liz Phair. She was a big deal at one point. She had she had one solid hit and a couple other songs. Anyway, on her album, on her biggest album, there's a song on there. I didn't have any of this on the script. I just know this because it's on my playlist. There's a song called HWC. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, it's not laid out right there what HWC is.
Yeah.
But in the song, she says it. She talks about how her current man is basically her beauty plan. And she gets into the chorus, and the chorus is, hot white cum. The song is hilarious and great, and I recommend everyone pull it up and listen to it, at least once. It's up to you whether or not you do that in incognito mode or not. I'm going to leave that to the listener. Otherwise, I like the rest of that album as well, but yeah. Like, the first time I heard that, I was like, there's no way she's going to say this, and then she did. And I was like, wow, mad respect. Like, this is a very, sex positive, stay in a relationship because you're my source of, my beauty regimen, I guess. But okay, yeah.
And then the other one, number 3.
Yeah.
Being, I guess you could quite literally call those women dick-faced then.
Yeah. Well, the name of the facial actually is penis facial. They call it a penis facial. They don't call it a foreskin facial. They call it a penis facial. And they were a big deal 3 years ago when she did this video. But first though, I reached out to Lonza about this. Now, this company, if anyone wants to look it up, it's not, she says Alonza.
Yeah.
I think she might have been mispronouncing it as maybe El-Onza.
Yeah.
But it is pronounced, or it is spelled out, Lonza. Lonza.
Okay.
I found that out after several minutes of trial and error. At any rate, after I went through their offerings for foreskin on their website, I reached out to them. They do have several different options, ranging in cost from just over $300 to just over $1,000. I reached out to them, told them about this show, and asked for a statement on this stuff. This was like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I checked my email earlier, but as of right now, I don't have anything. But we will see.
Yeah.
Anyway, I looked into the facial Candace mentioned. The women she mentioned, Sandra Bullock and the two others, did all get facials using stem cell lines from South Korean baby foreskin. However, they weren't placed on their faces, like she said. Even though this is derived from foreskins, it's the same as other ones we mentioned earlier, basically formulas using the propagated cells from a single source.
Yeah.
Injected under the skin. They swear it works. I don't really care. I am not the target audience for such stuff. I have been blessed or cursed with pretty much the same face since I was about 14 years old. My hairline took a hit, but since I've been shaving my head semi-regularly as my hair care method for about 30 years now, this isn't much of a problem for me. Anyway, I'm following up on this right now. Later on I wrote that part, and Lonza still hasn't responded to my email, but I don't blame them. I'm not buying, and I run a small media thing. Got to keep this stuff in perspective.
Yeah.
That all said, a normal person cannot just purchase foreskin from them.
Oh.
Fibroblasts or whatever other similar products Lonza or other suppliers offer. Purchasing that typically requires 1. Affiliation with a recognized research institute or lab. 2. Completion of regulatory and compliance documentation. 3. Agreement to terms that the products will not be used for therapeutic, diagnostic, or personal purposes, but only strictly for research. So again, Candace is wrong. I cannot imagine the small but potent hell this company went through on the various broadcasts of this bullshit. If they ever reach back out to me, I will be shocked and pleased.
Yeah.
And now, because no Candace show ever seems complete without it, we are going into the comments section of this episode.
Oh, God.
Candace is going to set it up first with some clemency for her audience. But for those of you who question what kind of smooth brains actually buy this crap, well, here you go.
Eye-opening. It was eye-opening for me. It became a reason why I decided not to circumcise my son. And you might come out of this and say that you still want to circumcise your son, and I do not want you to feel guilty about that. I just want you to go into it and be educated and know exactly what's happening. I want you to have all of the facts and all of the knowledge so that you can make a decision out of knowledge and not out of peer pressure or out of fear. Okay, now let's get into some of your comments. If you're wondering where I got these comments from, obviously I initially put up a Shot in the Dark privately, and now Daily Wire is acquiring it, and just the community of mothers writing and sharing stories. I want to make sure in every episode I just take the time, because it has blown my mind to hear some of your stories. The first thing that I want to say, though, before we get into this, is that there were a lot of mothers who wrote to me and expressed how much guilt they had for vaccinating their children, or guilt they had for doing this or that. And I just cannot stress enough that I just do not want that to be the circumstance. I do not want you to watch this and at any point feel guilty about anything that you've done, when all you have truly done was try to do the best for your child with the information that you had. I would have made the same exact decisions had it not been for, as we discussed in my first episode, my very own Shot in the Dark, and me having been so harmed personally. We are not going on this journey because I want you to go backwards in your mind and go coulda, woulda, shoulda. I want you to think forward. You might be becoming a grandparent, you might be a sister, an aunt, and you can point someone to this series so they can make different decisions. So no mom guilt, I will not accept it. Okay, this comment came from someone that was going by the handle Boy Mama 1022. She wrote, "Hi Candace, I have 2 boys. One is going on 3 and the other is going to be 4 months old. I vaccinated my first against my own beliefs and he has developmental delays and has been in early intervention since he was 15 months old. They say he has characteristics of autism, not diagnosed, which I link to the vaccine. I did not vaccinate my second because I finally got my husband on board. The biggest argument I receive is that my kids got their shots and they're fine. These are kids the same age as my oldest. How do you respond when people say that? And do you find that some kids are more susceptible to problems than others, and why? I appreciate your input. Thanks for all you're doing." First thing that I want to say is this person's experience. I'm going to answer back with my experience, and I will say to protect myself that neither one of us are doctors or medical experts. We were just talking about our personal experiences. The way that I always respond to that is go back to when I shared how when I was vaccine injured, I told you that I had a very severe injury that happened instantly in the room with Gardasil. I dropped and I had a seizure, mini seizure in the room. My sisters did not. You know, every body is different, and I think one of the craziest things that Big Pharma tries to sell to us is that every body is the same.
No. The obvious counter to this is that, for one thing, we've demonstrated that Candace was most likely not injured by Gardasil. 2, there is no Big Pharma. 3, I probably don't have to say this, but I will anyway. The medical community is fully aware that every one person is different, including identical twins and even probably clones. There may be similarities across different types of people, from regional characteristics to racial types to whatever. That's the kind of thing that doctors are aware of, and a reason why medical science moves the way that it does. If they really thought in medicine that everyone is the same, then there would likely be no allowance for the list of side effects in drugs or the variance in dosages of drugs given to different people. This is ludicrous. As for the commenter thinking that her kid has signs of autism, being the first child, well, a brief search on whether or not ASD or autism spectrum disorder were more common among firstborn children shows that yes, in study after study across different cultures, ASD is more common among firstborn children to the same mother, with rates along the spectrum trending downward with each successive child. You can see this sometimes when a family has their first child and the kid sleeps a lot, doesn't make a whole lot of noise, easy to raise, and they think, let's do another one. That first kid is known in some circles as the bait baby.
Yeah.
Baiting the parents into thinking the second one will be like that, and the answer often is nope. But the actual number of firstborn kids being diagnosed with ASD is about 76% of kids diagnosed are firstborn children. Okay?
Yeah.
The number falls sharply to 21% among secondborn,
Yeah.
and only about 2% thirdborn or later. So you have the first kid, and, you know, in the vast spectrum of autism kids, 76% are firstborn,
Yeah.
21% secondborn, small percentages thirdborn and later. Okay? So, the studies are ongoing to figure out why this is, but Candace can't be bothered to know any of that stuff.
Oh yeah. No.
You know,
Because clearly it's tied to vaccines and.
yeah. You know,
He I got him vaccinated, so now he suffers from autism.
yeah, see, and that's the thing too, is like the kids that, whether or not they get vaccines or not, the risk is the risk of ASD is the same.
Yeah.
It's the same whether or not you have vaccines. What we're not hearing are the stories from parents who chose not to vaccinate their kids and they got autism. Those people tend to be real fucking quiet.
Yeah.
They tend to be real fucking quiet because they know. You know, that's what pisses me off, is that there aren't any parents out there saying, look, we followed this anti-vax path and our kid is severely autistic anyway. You're all fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Those parents are not doing that.
Well, no.
You know.
Because unfortunately, those parents are the same ones who would rather sit back and go, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't get my kid vaccinated," or go, "Yeah, no, I got my first kid vaxxed," and that's why they're so like, deranged.
Yeah.
Oh.
The boy ain't right, as Hank Hill would say. So here's the next one.
Just look around you. You have people that are deathly, like a peanut could kill them, right? You could quite literally kill people with a peanut. I can eat a peanut and be fine. It would be pointedly ridiculous to watch somebody have an anaphylactic reaction to a peanut and drop dead and say, well, that person must be faking it because I had a peanut and I'm fine. We're different. That's the point of this. Everybody is different, which is why it is a madness to subscribe a one-size-fits-all model to medicine. It's pointedly ridiculous, and that is the way that I respond. Every child is in fact different, and I want you to walk away and understand that to be a truth. I have asthmas. My sisters do not. I have seasonal allergies. My sisters do not. We are all different. It really is that simple of an answer.
Yeah, before I let her go on, it occurred to me that one of the things Candace engages in, and I know calling her a hypocrite is like saying water is wet. You know, hear me out for a second. One of the things that she willingly engages in to make them sales bucks is to promote beauty and wellness brands that are in fact one-size-fits-all solutions.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Yep.
Annie Hong writes, I comment on every vitamin K post on Facebook that I can to share my story. We got the strong sales pitch for my second son. The hospital pediatrician pretty much harassed us about getting vitamin K and warned us that if we didn't, it could quote-unquote be life-threatening. She even called us after her shift had ended from her personal phone to urge us to get it. I've learned so much after having two boys now with completely different journeys. The first, I was uninformed and naive. The second, I knew much more and made informed decisions. Here's a photo of the quote-unquote heat rash that my first son got. What a lie from that pediatrician. We kept the house at 62 degrees that summer, so the heat rash wouldn't spread. It still did get even worse despite it being freezing in our house. What a joke. It makes me wonder what other lies that doctor makes up for other parents who go in during the winter months with the same rash. It's so sad. And here's a photo of her baby, sweet child, with a rash all over his body. And again, this goes back to what I tell you, and I will continue to tell you in every episode. They will always put the blame on you. Oh, did I give your child an injection and did they break out into a rash? Well, you know what the problem is? It's the fact that you guys just can't get the temperature right in your own home. This is a heat rash. This is nothing more than a heat rash. It couldn't possibly be anything else. Your temperature is just too hot in your own home. Of course, don't look at these ingredients and don't look at these potential side effects and all these things that potentially happen. In fact, I'm not even really allowed to give you this FDA insert. Just know that you as a mom and a dad are doing something wrong. It's positively infuriating to me to read these stories, and I am so angry that so many mothers and fathers are being constantly gaslit and constantly made to feel this fearful about everything that they're doing, including setting the thermostat.
Yeah, first off, you can get the FDA inserts if you ask.
Yeah.
You can get them, you can pull them up on your fucking phone.
I mean, shit, it wasn't that like half of her first episode was her saying that you can demand the FDA inserts?
Yeah. They'll go, oh, I'm not even supposed to give that to you. No, they are not.
Yeah.
No, they are not. No doctor.
If your doctor kind of goes, yeah, let me go figure out where the fuck those are. It's probably because nobody has asked them in a long while, so they're probably sitting over in the drawer and they're just like,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that for a lot of these things, they will hand them to you.
Yeah.
Or they'll even ask, like, do you want to see the insert? I mean, I can explain anything in it.
Yeah.
That has been my thing with any doctor ever is you should know what's in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's talk about this before we do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's just good medical practice. But anyway,
I mean, shit, when I got the seven vaccines all at one go, it was, do any of these conflict with each other? Well, no. Which arm's your less dominant one again? Yeah, no, I had no room for anybody when I went back to work. I think, not that day, but the next day.
Yeah.
I went into work and everybody was like, yeah, I just got my COVID shot. God, my arms are sore. And I'm like, I just got 4 shots in my left arm, 3 in my right. I don't want to fucking hear it. They're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to work. I'm having to do the fucking fryers today. All you got to do is slap a sandwich together.
Yeah, you're not even moving the patties down the line, man. Yeah. So, baby heat rash. Let's talk about that for a moment. First, a spreading rash is not a known side effect of the vitamin K shot. Second, this mother that wrote in, Candace did what Candace does and what these people eat up. In this case, I doubt this mom consulted with an actual doctor. Heat rash is usually caused by blocked sweat glands in hot or humid conditions when the baby is overdressed. It can appear anywhere on the body, but most of the time it's found on the chest, neck, back, or skin fold areas. If it spreads in spite of cleaning, keeping the home cool, and comes on with a fever, then it is something else entirely. Most medical websites I checked say that after 24 hours, if heat rash doesn't improve, after trying to clean the area, cooling the home, if it doesn't improve or seems to get worse, get the kid to a doctor.
Yeah.
It's a serious cause for concern and could be any number of things, but it should be checked out by a doctor.
Yeah.
And something that just occurred to me in that whole story, right?
Yeah.
I didn't write this down. Something that just occurred to me in that whole story is the lady was like, we're not going to get the kid a vitamin K shot. Mm-hmm. And then the kid gets a heat rash.
Yeah.
How do you fucking link those two?
Oh, no. It was other way around. Her firstborn that got the K shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she was trying to compare that her first kid who did have the stuff got the rash, whereas the one who didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for clearing that up for me. Like, I get so deep in the weeds on this shit, sometimes I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a serious cause for concern and could be any number of things, but should be checked out by a doctor. But here, we saw Candace be Candace and shit on the most basic advice, which should have been, if this happens to your kid, go to a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
Now, for the part that likely infuriates the best among us, medical people. If you wanted to know where the dumbest questions you get come from, the most pseudoscience shit with an aggressive tone, here's the thing. I will abstain from going back over the many pushbacks we gave earlier to the following questions, if I feel that I can. I just want to let Candace be as terrible as she is, so it can be understood why her sales pitch, taken in an uninterrupted way, is a danger to the uninitiated.
All right, you guys, now let's get into some questions that you can ask your doctors and your nurses regarding circumcision. Here are just some questions that I would ask. First up, I think it would be fair to say, what are the benefits of male circumcision? And now you might be thinking a little differently if they tell you that it's going to prevent them from getting STDs. And now you might be thinking a little bit differently if they tell you that it will prevent them from having penile cancers. And now you'll have actual data and facts to point them to, and you can play comparative analysis games. Pick a country, any country that doesn't circumcise, and see if they have higher or lower rates of the STD or the cancer that they're alleging that you're going to be protected from. I would ask them then, can you explain why European countries which do not default to circumcision, to circumcising their male infants, have lower rates of penile cancer and infections? I would then ask them, could circumcision be a contributing factor to hemorrhagic disease in newborns, given that male infants suffer more predominantly from it with a 2-to-1 ratio? With a 2.1 to 1 ratio, rather. I would ask them, don't vitamin K levels naturally rise after the first few days?
No.
And if they say, yeah, they do rise, I would ask them, then why the rush? If you do feel, by the way, that you do want to circumcise your child with the knowledge that I just gave you, with the facts that I just presented to you, why not wait a couple of days where it's just less risky of a procedure? That's something that I would ask the doctor. Why the rush? Why right when they're coming out? Do you want to access the foreskin? Oh, I know, because probably you want to sell it. Maybe that's a good question. What happens to the foreskin? It's a great question. Just wondering, in this hospital, what do you guys do with the foreskin? I bet they'll be pretty hush and mum, and I don't know, and paper pushing about that. You guys, that is all we have for today's episode. I hope it was as eye-opening for you as it was for me as I went on this journey as a first-time mother. And I'm going to wrap this show by telling you, first and foremost, the next episode is going to be on hepatitis B, the first time that I ever stood up to a doctor, and it was fascinating, the response that I got when I started asking questions and realizing how little they actually knew, even though I don't think, again, that these doctors are trying to do anything to harm your child. I think that when doctors come out of medical school, or rather when doctors are in medical school before they become doctors, when they are just medical students, their job is to remember a lot of information, not to necessarily think critically, but to remember the information so they can spit it back out into the test. And so in that way, they sort of have an automated response when it comes to vaccines. I'm excited to talk about that with you guys. Sadly, it feels like it happened so quickly, but this is the last episode that is going to be in front of the paywall of A Shot in the Dark. I hope that you guys understand why that is. Obviously, it is a tremendous risk to us, to me, to be on these platforms and trying to talk about these issues when there is an entire big pharma gang that wants to prevent these discussions, because there was a lot of money to be lost. And of course, they will hit this account, they will target this account, they will not allow this account to last. So if you want to follow this, if you believe in this series, if you, like I said in the first episode, are a Candace Owens hater, that's politically, that is totally fine. I wish you weren't, but I'm going to allow it because this information is that important, and I hope that you will join my Daily Wire Plus and you can ignore all of the other content. You can only watch this show. This will be the speed of it. It will be apolitical. It really is designed to be a guide from parents, and it's coming directly from my heart, because I know how I felt when I had my first child, and I just want you to have that confidence when you're talking to doctors and not being made to feel like you're either A, an idiot, or B, somebody that would intentionally harm your child. So you guys, if you want to watch the whole series, please subscribe to the Daily Wire Plus with the link in the description. I cannot wait to see you guys there, and also comment. We're all learning together, and you will see that I will continually pull comments out and read them on the show, because I like to hear your guys' feedback. Hey guys, I hope you're loving this series as much as I love doing it. There is a lot of information in each episode, so we have to put it all in one place for you on our show Instagram page. So you can go ahead and give it a follow. That's at Shot in the Dark DW+. We will be posting all the links, graphics, and some clip excerpts on that page, so it will definitely be a useful resource as we navigate all of these topics together. Please make sure to comment on that page or email me at candace@dailywire.com to share your thoughts on the series or ask any questions that you may have. I will definitely be sharing them, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. We will be back next week with a brand new episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
The fucking why the rush portion of that, all that came to mind was, okay, so you telling me that this massive gash in my arm will heal itself if I do nothing? Well, yes, sir, but you're currently bleeding. Can I sop up the blood with gauze? Yes, sir, you technically could. Then why the rush? Sir, you were actively bleeding out and turning pale. Why the rush, boy? I'll be fine in 2 weeks. Sir, you'll be dead in a minute. Fucking lay down and let me do this. That's all that came to my brain.
Oh, God. See, I titled this one, Last Clip of Peen Patrol.
She didn't even talk about peen as much as I thought she would.
You know what? I didn't put this down, but one of the things I was waiting for her to get to, and she didn't.
Yeah.
I think there may have been reasons for it.
Yeah.
Okay. But one of the things that I was like, oh my God, is she gonna talk about this? She didn't. Was in the 4,000 years that circumcision's been going on in the Jewish community.
Yeah.
It was part of the practice when it had to be done that even a perfect circumcision, like the baby could wind up bleeding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the days before vitamin K, there were ways to deal with that.
Yeah.
They weren't always perfect, didn't always work, and one was exceptionally gross.
Okay.
So there were herb compresses that they would try to use. Obviously, like, maybe you staunch the bleeding with some cloth, some gauze. Now, the most ridiculous one that I am surprised she showed restraint at mentioning. Mm-hmm. She didn't talk about the herb compresses either, to be fair. But the most ridiculous one was that the Moyle, being the person closest, would sometimes put their mouth on the wound.
That's what I thought you were gonna say. Yeah.
To try to staunch it and stop it. Now, the biggest problem with doing that is if the Moyle has any disease, especially STIs,
it's now
it can be
going
transferred
straight
to the baby. Yeah. Through the open wound. I am surprised she didn't mention that. But she was new to the Daily Wire at the time. And them being owned by prominent Jew Ben Shapiro, I have a feeling that reasoning was cut out in post or in pre-production.
Yeah.
Like, you can talk about all this shit, but don't you dare mention this.
Well, I mean, she also does show the restraint of, in defense of,
Yeah.
While we are against circumcision at this current moment, unless you're Jewish or Muslim, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, unless you've got a religious reason, we can forgive it, but if you're doing it for health reasons, absolutely not.
Yeah. So, the first 3 we've done so far were all up free on several platforms. So starting next week, we're going to start getting into the material they thought was worth paying for on the Daily Wire. Mm-hmm. And that they also might have thought was too hot for YouTube.
I mean, you know what I find fucked up?
I personally would have thought that discussing baby peen would have been too hot as subject matter.
Honestly,
but what do I know?
For everything that I've watched on YouTube, I'm...
Well, anyway, we're going to follow this bullshit up with something that is almost guaranteed to be a bad idea. I'll let Matthew take it away from here.
All right, so from Lester's Fixins, get tagged lined with "Y'all get your fixins," is a pure cane sugar, mind you, 100% natural mustard flavored soda. 12 ounces of it, and look at that. There's
What? Is there mustard bits in it?
there's mustard bits in the base of it.
No shit.
Look for the little foggies in the bottom.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Oh,
Now,
this
here's
is
the
gonna be
thing: is that
fucking
usually we
terrible.
read off the full ingredients on these things,
Yeah.
but the label here is so yellow, and the print on it is white. Like, I can barely make out the nutrition facts. I'm wearing glasses. I can barely make out the nutrition facts. The ingredients list is in tiny print, right by the master label, Rocket Fizz, Soda Pop, and Candy Shop. I'm sure that on RocketFizz.com they give you the ingredients, but I didn't think about that until just now. But yeah, I can't possibly read that.
What's your strength?
3.
3? All right.
Yeah.
I should be able to see with.
Yeah, give it a shot, Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, I might help if there were.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
Carbonated natural artisan spring water, pure cane sugar, citric acid, kosher salt. Oh, it's kosher.
Wow. Cool
Shit,
shit.
I lost it. Vinegar. Natural and artificial flavor. Some kind of gum.
Probably guar gum or something, yeah.
Yeah. Yellow 5. Yellow 6. No preservatives. Flash pasteurized for safety.
Okay.
Bottled by Rocket Fizz, Soda Pop, and Candy Shop.
Yeah.
LLC, P.O. Box, yada yada yada.
So this is their brand. Yeah, this is their brand of shit.
Ooh, hang on, I gotta let my eyes adjust.
Yeah.
It's like working with the zoom function on a fucking scope.
Let's see if I can make any of that out. Oh my god. Wow, you really... Yeah, I can't. I still can't.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I need glasses. I know I do, but for some reason I can, like, adjust the focus of my goddamn eyes when I need to.
Yeah, you probably won't actually need glasses for a couple of years, but...
Yeah.
When... Like, I probably should get a prescription, but right now the reading glasses kind of work for me because I can take them off, I can put them on top of my head, whatever, to get through normal shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've probably needed them for a while. I just...
Too busy.
Yeah, I mean, that, and honestly, reading glasses are real cheap. If I break these fuckers, they're replaceable.
If you break prescriptions...
It's a little more money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't trust myself yet.
Well, see, that's the part that kills me is I need to get a pair for the fucking sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah.
I need to get a pair for that, but fuck the cost on sunlight sensitivity with blue screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a little much. So let's do this. Oh, got a nice little fizzy. That's always good. There's some pungency there.
I don't use the word pungency. You already moved it over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Make sure you pour that on the mic. Come on. It's getting to you.
Okay, let me...
Come on, pour it up, man.
Wait, hang on.
Now this stuff is, as he said, there's like two different kinds of yellow in there. This is like a mustard yellow thing. Stop sniffing the bottle. Pour me the stuff.
It smells...
Pour the sauce.
It smells like how our cabinets did when we moved in.
Yeah, like vinegar. Pour it up. Okay, well, it's got a fizz to it, so yeah. Take that. Now we're gonna let this breathe for a little bit. Or just pour the rest in the glass. You don't have to finish it off. All right, fine. Give it to me. Whatever. All right.
You know me. I'm gonna try. God damn it.
I'm gonna set that right there for a second. We're gonna let it breathe for a moment. Okay. Let it breathe. Is it powerful? I'm gonna give it a sniff now.
It actually kind of smells like lemons.
Oh God, no! It just, oh man, like the worst lemon, like the worst aspect of lemon. I mean, like you're really getting the citric acid.
It's just like the rind of the lemon.
Yeah, kind of like that's the scent that I'm getting, and just like the other one, it is fizzy as hell. Like I'll give Rocket Pop. The other one was a Rocket Pop.
Yeah.
Creation.
Yeah, they make some pretty fizzy sodas.
I mean, they make some potent shit. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to have my bottle of water ready to go, just like usual.
Oh, God. Yeah, I should do the same.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drink the rest of this bottle and open up a fresh one.
Yep. Fuck, where are mine? There they are. I'm going to rinse my mouth of Dr. Pepper because I still have that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just rinsed the coffee down mine, so...
All right.
All right, hold on.
Right.
Let me...
Okay.
I'm going to keep mine... I'm keeping mine open and by me. I don't know about you. Lord. Now, here's the thing, is that there are... We're not going to say the names of them. There are so many other bad idea sodas that I could have grabbed.
You could have grabbed the Scotch Bonnet one, you know?
Yeah, but this spoke to me in a way that one did not. And I figured maybe the Reaper Pepper one, which we did last time, I had real low hopes.
Yeah.
For that one.
Which, surprisingly, I felt no, aside from the initial burning, felt no bad side effects. I was expecting to be pissing fire, but no, nothing bad. I really don't want to drink this.
Look, do you think I want to drink the other ones that we talked about the other day?
That's fair.
I don't want to drink any of them, but we're doing this because it's funny. I guess. I don't know.
It's content.
Look, content. Yeah, like I give a shit. We produce a free episode every 2 fucking weeks. I don't give a fuck about content, but I want to be fair. I want to give this a shot. Maybe it sucks. Maybe it's great. But we've talked about it enough.
I don't want to do it.
Look, you don't have to swallow it. You spit it back out, right? Treat it like, I don't know. Look, eventually you're going to meet someone that gets a mouthful of something they don't appreciate, and you can be like, look, you don't need to just spit. It's fine. I won't be offended. You know? In this case, we're not even looking at the people that made this. The odds of them even hearing this show are so astronomically low. Unless you are the creator of this, in which case...
Bravo!
Do you hate people? Do you hate people?
Did you die and then come back to life and go...
It's still busy and it still smells fucking terrifying.
Did you die and then come back to life and go, well, I'm going to hell anyway, so might as well make it a trip? Like,
were you like the people on Planet Cricket in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Okay, just a little side note here. According to Douglas Adams, the people on Cricket got their hands on a spaceship. They couldn't see space. Their planet was in a cloud.
yeah.
They could look up in the night sky and not see space. They'd never seen a star.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they finally get their hands on a spaceship. They reverse engineer it. They go from a farming culture to spacefaring. They get out into space. They get past the cloud. And they see the stars and the glory of the cosmos. And the first thing they say about it is, well, that has got to go. And they become the warringest thing. And they try to eliminate outer space. Yeah.
Because
they were like, no, we don't like this. This is too much. Yeah.
I suppose it's like when you play Stellaris. If you play Stellaris long enough and you do the warring like faction thing, eventually you'll build a Starkiller base.
Yeah.
And when you do that, at that point, you get named a threat by everyone.
Yeah, okay.
And all that comes to my mind every time that I go to use one is, yes, the star system displeases me. I keep having faction fights over it. They won't let me have it. So you know what? No one gets to fucking have it and overload the sun and cause a supernova.
There you go.
Like, you know.
I think that's the right way.
Wait, when you're being a space warlord.
Okay,
and then you've got to pave
on.
a new highway and everything. It's a pain in the ass.
I have to...
Oh, God. I got another whiff of it, and I'm trying to place the smell completely. It's like...
It's honestly,
like,
it's pungent. This is the most pungent thing.
It's like the old oak cabinets in your smoking grandmother's house.
See, I want y'all to understand. I like mustard.
Yeah.
I like yellow mustard, which is what this claims to be.
I mean, it is yellow and it is mustard flavored, so yeah.
We think it's mustard flavored. We haven't taken that plunge yet.
I hope it's not mustard.
I'm fond of yellow mustard in a way that a lot of people are not.
I.e., me.
I am. Oh God, I'm having the worst time trying to. I think because I'm getting flashbacks to the dill pickle one.
Oh God,
that was the worst.
Funniest visual though.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm probably gonna spit it back into the glass and grab my water bottle immediately. So I'm just gonna shortcut that process. I'm gonna hold the soda glass in my right hand. I'm gonna hold the water bottle in my left. All right, freshly capped water bottle, mustard soda. I got a place I can set it down if it sucks. Okay, I am having to plan this out. That's how pungent this shit is. Yeah. You might want to...
I can't believe I wanted to add a drop of CBD oil and...
Yeah, no. You may want to uncap your water bottle as well.
No, because if this is revolting, I'm going to thrash.
Oh, okay, fair. All right, just don't cast it on the equipment.
Of course.
Okay. Man, it's still fizzing. fuck is this cauldron of shit? All right. Okay. 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 This is the hardest one. Okay. All right. You know, if it's good, it's gonna be really fucking surprising.
I'm gonna hate it if it's
good. I'm gonna hate it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Nope. Give me your glass. Give me your glass. It's so bad. Oh my god. Oh.
Pass me my towel. It's right behind you. It's in my fucking beard.
Oh no, man.
God, it left a yellow stain on my fucking.
Oh,
If you couldn't tell, neither of us could finish that. Not even the brief swallow we wanted to do.
I let it marinate in my mouth for a second. I was hoping it'd get better.
It was sweet at first.
It was sweet, but it like I said, it tastes like it smells and now know for a fact it tastes like the. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, get the water. The water's gonna help. I just chugged like 4 ounces. I'm gonna hit some more here. Better. Much better. I couldn't imagine swallowing that down. Good Lord.
I'm so glad I had good tasting mocktails earlier.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Also, just business 101, if you're having a meeting and you're the first person at the restaurant, don't wordlessly order mocktails. I'm fairly certain that probably didn't quite look right to the folks I was meeting with, because I was sitting there and I had what I'm sure to a normal person was 5 drinks in like a very quick hour and a half. Like I was sipping them through the straw, but you know how drinks are, it's mostly ice with a little bit of drink in it. And they weren't alcoholic, so I was just like, oh man, I'm out already. Hey, another one please.
That said, or it was impressive that you held your liquor.
Yeah.
God, did you see how much he put away? He's sober as fuck.
Did you see how much he put away and he was still having coherent conversation?
This is like Tony Stark levels of alcohol. Yeah. No, mocktails.
Mocktails, yeah. Nowhere in this state would serve me alcohol.
Yeah, no, like.
But now, see, I'm disappointed in myself because when I went to go and visit my friends, I had the golden opportunity to say, yeah, I left my ID at home, and see if I could have gotten a margarita. Because our waitress comes over and goes, what can I get you folks to drink? My buddy's girlfriend goes, oh, I'll have whatever fucking margarita. He's like, yeah, I'll have this margarita too. They got like ice chilled margaritas, whatever the fuck. And she looked at me expecting me to also spit out a margarita, because I'm sitting there looking out the alcohol menu just like going, man, I wish I could drink something. Do they have mocktails? No, they do not have mocktails. We're too far south.
You know what, though? You could have just asked. Not for the margarita. You could have just asked, hey, look, do you have a non-alcoholic option? I'd like to have a margarita, but I'm only 20. I didn't even think to do that either. Because a good bartender would have been like, I'll give it a shot.
That's fair. But yeah, our waitress was like, why? Because I had ordered the fucking strawberry lemonade, because I was like, I've got no other option. It's a sweet drink. I'll go with that. And I ordered that, and she's like, why are you ordering that? Did you forget your ID at home or something? And in back of my head, I'm going, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. And what came out of my mouth was, no, I'm under 20. And correction, I'm under 21. Yeah. And she just went, okay, so pink lemonade for the baby. And I'm like, fuck you.
Right. Oh, man. But yeah. So
that was horrible. That's getting dumped and rinsed.
Yeah. We did not.
That is probably only the second only soda we haven't at least taken a second gulp of.
Yeah. I have a feeling there will be more but not in our immediate future. The next one we're going to do, we're not going to talk about it.
I already see the face on the side of it.
Yeah, I'm thinking this one.
Yeah.
Now see, we got two that were guaranteed to suck. The Reaper one and this mustard one. Our next two, not going to suck.
Well, we don't know that the one's not going to. Well, of course, again, what's the flavor on it?
Okay, maybe this one might suck. This one might suck. This is the middle ground. This one might suck, but
so we should probably do the one that might maybe suck first.
We're gonna have to do the might maybe suck first,
right? Yeah, because it's worse
than
I
expect will not suck.
Yeah, and then we got to go back to the Mall of America again.
Yeah, in like a month. That's 2 weeks up and then 2 weeks up.
Oh yeah. God, I mean, it's trying to actively the little bit that I had is trying to revolt out.
Of course. I mean, honestly, there's no bad excuse to go to the Mall of America. A Rocket Fizz shop is a really good reason to go.
Games for James is also all right. A little pricey on their dice, personally.
Best thing they have there, by far, so far, for our money anyway, is definitely that aquarium.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, man, the Sea Life Aquarium, so cool. Mm-hmm. So fucking cool.
Yeah,
High marks.
I went there with a friend of mine and got asked at, near the end of it, why do you know so much obscure things about fish? I was like, well, I was homeschooled and grandmother's way of doing it was to just turn on a nature documentary. She would pass out, I would watch it, and then when she woke back up again, I'd tell her what the documentary was about and what I learned from it.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to retain information for her.
Right.
And so, I just retained a lot of useless facts about fucking shrimp for some fucking reason,
Yeah.
Like that shrimp like to just, clap their claws together to create a fucking sonic boom to kill something.
Yeah. I mean, at least some shrimp do.
Yeah. One of the shrimp that does it also likes to clean very large predatory fish's teeth. So, they're weird. I can understand why the shrimp that was used in Pixar, which was
was it Nemo?
Yeah, Nemo.
Yeah.
The one that they come across that cleans.
Yeah, Jacques.
Yeah, Jacques.
No cleaning Jacques.
Yeah. I can understand the fucking nationality of French European for him because, it's kind of a very, very European thing to be like, oh yes, I will clean you completely. What is that? Fuck you!
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did not mean to kill him with a punch. That was my bad. He wanted more than a cleaning, and I don't do happy endings.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, let's cut this here, and it's been fun, and in spite of the gross fucking material.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like next week we're back on the vaccine train with the hepatitis B vaccine. Yeah. So I have not listened to that one yet, and I am not looking forward to it. But
I really hope she doesn't bring up vitamin K again.
I
feel like she's going to use that as it's supposed to be some sort of miracle thing that's promoted.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I guess we're all going to find out together. I will find out first. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking forward to this because I did not pay anything for these episodes, aside from, internet connection. I did not pay anything for these episodes. I am getting them from someone who thought the world should hear it, free of charge on Rumble. So, thank you, Dennis Beebe, for that. Not a listener to this show, to my knowledge, but
thank you nonetheless.
Still a mensch for putting it up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
There's only one person that I ever aspire to have the computer monitor set up of, and the guy openly to his friends who are all Twitch streamers and shit, he's like, yeah, I have ad blocker so good that I can just break into any website that's got a paywall on it. And they're like, how are you? What is that? Why we don't see you on our viewers list? He's like, yep, because I just kind of Jimmy Waimea, he threw a Twitch backdoor and just kind of chill out here. And they're like, are you even like giving us any money? No, not a cent. Our ads are like 5 seconds and you can skip. That's 5 seconds of my life I'm not here to waste.
Yeah, I want to say somebody put up recently that basically if you just disable JavaScript, it gets you past most paywalls on like newspaper sites because they operate on JavaScript to give you the, click here, log in your account, whatever.
Yeah.
You just disable JavaScript on the website, you're good to go. That's for like most of them.
Jesus.
Yeah. Because if they give you like a part of the article and then they're like, sign up here or whatever to log in, are you already a subscriber? Log in here. Yeah, no, you just disable fucking JavaScript.
Continue down the...
Yeah, and you're just good to... Yeah, he's like, okay, so what you do is if you're presented with one of these sites, go up here, go into here, click disable JavaScript, and now go back to the site. Just hit reload. Boom. See, that's gone. Yeah. So yeah, now Dennis BB did not do that to my knowledge, but someone did.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dennis, though, if you are by some small chance a member of this audience, be a mention. Put up number 18.
Yeah, if you can get your hands on it.
Oh, this guy got his hands on everything.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Have a good one, everybody, and we will see you again in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.